Hello everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Ooyukiumi no Kaina. I read the title properly, and I know it's not Ooyukiumi no Kaina, it's Ooyukiumi no Kaina, whatever that means. I mean, the Great White Sea, I think. Kaina of the Great White Sea, so I'm assuming Oyakiyumi yo... I forgot the name already. Oyukiumi. Oyukiumi no means of great snow sea or something like that. Yuki is sea. O is the suffix for great. Oyuki Yumi sea, probably. Yukiyumi snow sea. Oyukiumi great snow sea. Sure, okay, makes perfect sense. I pieced it together. See, I'm learning Japanese as I'm watching anime. Who says it's a waste of time, right? It's educational. Okay, regardless, in the previous episode, in episode 1, we learned a little bit about the world of the Great Snow Sea. And by a little bit, I mean a little bit, because I still mostly have questions and less so any answers. We know how the world looks, more or less. There is a huge amount of snow at the bottom. It's either just puffy snow, fluffy snow that you can sink in, or it's actually just a layer of sea, a layer of water, and a thick-ish layer of snow above. That's also a possibility. I guess we'll see that maybe in this episode, maybe in the next one, we'll see. Then we have those trees, the orbital something trees, or just orbital trees, that have sprouted that membrane at the top that seems to be keeping the atmosphere of the planet in, or seems to be keeping the radiation out, or something like that. It very much seems like either... no, it can't be just plain terraforming. It can be like, I know, the surface of Titan that humans tried to terraform, because we have all those relics from ages past. Well, all those relics, signboards, that's what we have. So it has to be, what's the word for it? Retro terramorphing, paraterramorphing, something like that, which means we are terraforming our own planet. As it becomes less and less habitable, we're terraforming it to make it habitable again. That's the vibe I'm getting. Maybe the ozone layer was completely destroyed, and all that's left is to create an artificial layer of something, and humans of this age, or the ages past rather, were so adept at bioengineering that instead of building something like that, they just sown some seeds, and the trees sprouted that recreated the protective layer of our planet, or something happened like that. All I can say is that I absolutely love the world and the world building and the lore, and we haven't even seen that much of it. So I can only imagine what we're going to see in today's episode and in the next episode. Besides that, what happened? Well, Kaina. As it turns out, Kaina is our protagonist, not the princess. So it's kind of a Link and Zelda situation where it's called... no. Yeah, because usually when you have someone of something in the title, it's usually the person who's like fish out of water kind of scenario, who just finds themselves somewhere randomly, and that would be the princess, right? She just found herself at the top of the world. So you just assume that's the Kaina, but it's the protagonist. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Our protagonist Kaina is living up there on the orbital trees, hunting some bugs. for food. All of the trees are slowly but surely deteriorating and dying for some reason. And villages that are created in the treetops are also falling apart and dying. People of those villages apparently don't move to neighboring villages, they just, I don't know, accept death or something. Because we have only a single village with like 7 elderly people and Kaina. And the last contact they had with another village was the sign bearer, or whatever the title is, of the person who carries signs from village to village and teaches language. So they are, as far as they're concerned, the only remaining people living in the treetops. Or rather, as far as they're concerned, they are the only remaining people, period. Because they don't know there are people down below in the Great Snow Sea. And there are holes being made in the membrane for some reason. They appear, perhaps it's the membrane deteriorating, perhaps it's some meteor showers or something happening, or something else entirely. The bugs usually repair that membrane, which makes me believe if the trees are infected by engineering, the bugs probably are as well, which is like, it increases my interest in the show even more, because I love biopunk aesthetic and biopunk themes. So hopefully we can get some post-apocalyptic biopunk here. That's gonna be great. And the bugs are also reducing in numbers, probably because they're eating all their fucking eggs. But what do I know? So there's a great world-ending thing afoot. And similarly, well, not really similarly, on the surface of the Great Snow Sea, there's a battle going on, a war between some neighboring kingdoms, or fiefdoms, or otherwise areas of world. And the princess of one of them wants to seek the help of sages or something like that that supposedly live in the rooftops, in the treetops. So the people from the bottom have at least some vague concept of someone living up there, but the people from up there don't have the concept of people living down there. Interesting what drove that divide between two groups of people. Both are humans after all. And her whole entourage gets murdered by the rivaling faction who has ships like diesel punk kind of World War II era, World War I era ships, which is interesting because it gives us another look into the post-apocalyptic aspect of this world. And she finds herself up the top, probably almost suffocating because there's no air up above. Kaina himself wears the rebreather, the mask. Kaina finds her, and it seems like we are starting this episode right where we left off, because I see in the first frame there's Kaina and there's the princess sitting at the edge of the hole in the membrane. She was lucky that Kaina was there, because if nobody was there, she would have just flown off into space. So, okay, I think that does it for a summary, and for a bit of a, whatchamacallit, prologue, prelude, stuff I say at the beginning of the video. So now we should just start watching it, I think. So, you're gonna need... Why did it black out? You're gonna need your subs, of course, to follow along. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on, because sound design is actually kind of cool in this series. So is the music. And with all of that, and support me if you want monetarily. Patreon, thrown links in the description below, or if you don't want to spend any money, share my content, spread the word, costs you nothing, helps the channel. And with that out of the way, we can start watching episode 2 of Ooyukiumi no Kaina in 3, 2, 1, go. And right, the whole show is CG. Did I forget to mention that? Oh, spare rebreather. That's gotta be useful. Covering her eyes as well. Radiation. Same reason why astronauts' helmets' visors are one-way mirrors. A knife, a sword. Okay, so at least she has some gear with her still. Also some great foresight on Kaina's part to carry a spare breathing apparatus with him. Seeing how there's only like 5 people in the world, or so they believe, having one with him can be seen as kinda unnecessary and useless, but he still lugs it around. And of course the vistas in this world, in this show, are just amazing. Every single shot of the membrane and of the world, every single landscape shot is like wallpaper worthy. And there's this girl. Living in a fortress, diesel punk, Mad Max kind of water world situation. And then there's this thing, of course, the glowing floating mushroom. Oh, that was a big humanoid thing. Did I not notice it previously? Okay. Are we going some kaiju mecha thing? Yeah, it's a sword. She's young and breathable. Is that what it is about? We can rebuild, we can repopulate. And she's gonna wake up at the... Oh, I liked that one. It was a very 2D effect of that cheek touch. Georgie is dead. Also, why do they have this like dark mark on top of their noses? Is this supposed to be shadow? Also interesting that they speak the same language. They've been separated so long that the people in the canopy forgot about the existence of the people down below, and yet they still speak the same language. So either the divide didn't happen that long ago, or I don't know. Or maybe there's no deeper meaning to that. I mean, blue curtains, right? No, he's not a sage, he's just a demented old man. Yeah, it's just a random poor village. Random poor dying village in the canopy. Is this what could be killing the trees. This little, like, parasitic looking growth. We don't know any sages. We just know bug eggs and signs. Okay, so now they figure people are living at the bottom. Snow Sea, indeed. The people you see. 6. It's probably the fault of this parasitic looking growth. And if he even existed at all. Okay, yeah, the snow is rising. Yeah. So all alive relies on the trees, be it on the top or on the bottom. You'd think they would have plenty of water, it being, you know, sea of snow. My bet is on Valgia also being on the verge of extinction. Hmm. Where else? Some repressed memories or something? When a person in anime tries to remember something and their head hurts, it's usually a surefire sign that it's some sort of a repressed memory. Either blocked purposefully or blocked due to trauma or something. That's a good question, actually. Repopulate the canopy. I mean, that's probably what they want you to do, so. There's a lot of focus on those parasitic-looking growths. Bright in it, without any clouds or anything. What do you want from her? Okay, gonna give her some proper clothes. It's a bridal gown. Is there a lot to tour? There's the common room, there's the bedrooms, and I guess the signkeeper's room, and I guess food storage and stuff. Okay. Yeah, what could be the cause? Why is the water... Is this all those parasitic growths that are sucking out the water? And the branches only go so low, right? Okay, so it's fly eggs, not a growth. Yeah, maybe don't leave her alone kilometers into the air. Mmm, mmm. Mmm, mmm. What about? A floater? Is she gonna try to risk it? And the clappy music. Yeah, you be careful. It's not a, you know... Oh, that's a lot of eggs. Alien flashbacks. Is it the flies that are killing the tree? Or their eggs, rather. Those are big. And they look like... I forgot the name of the bug in English. But there's a bug that has those, like, mace-looking things at the front. Could you put a saddle on it? Yeah, it's not gonna give up that easily. How? Oh, the glowy mushroom thing again. It just died? Okay, so I guess the glowy mushroom thing is their friendly guide that helps them. Mm. You two are gonna fuck and repopulate the canopy. Oh, rappelling tools. Steel. Yeah, that makes sense. Unless you take a floater up. Hmm. I guess it makes sense. You cut the bark, it splits off, and you can use it. Yeah. And you're just gonna give up? I guess it does make some modicum of sense. Okay. I almost thought they. Yeah. Okay, they are ultimately nice people. Can't we all go down, I wonder? Caution large insects region. Oh, so insects were an issue even before the world ended. Hmm. Is it like some advanced laser cutter or something? That has a low setting that can be used often and just about cut the bark, and a high setting that just turns it into a lightsaber, but you can't use it for a while? That was very easy. Rather, what I mean is, I thought it's gonna be a much more, like, touching, separation, and it is a laser cutter. That he's gonna be apprehensive. I don't wanna leave you guys, you're my only family, right? That kind of thing. But he's just like, oh, I can't go back at the top? Okay, sure, whatever. Peace out, I'm going with Liliha. Best of luck to you guys. Oh, that's it, really? Where did the 20 minutes go? So, the previous civilization had laser cutters, portable laser cutters. Post-apo. Post-apo and bioengineering attempts at re-terraforming the Earth. Laser cutter can turn into a gun slash light saber. I wonder if we see the old people from the canopy again. Would be cool if they figured some sort of technology they can use to go up and down at will. Okay. Okay. Right. That was cool. That was great. I did enjoy myself very much. So how about we enjoy ourselves again and watch it again? Shall we? Where should I put my phone? Here should be good. Yeah, it's a good thing he has a spare breathing mask in his bag. Wonder why he carries it around, but sure. Maybe it's just a force of habit. Back when there were more people around, everybody would have one spare, so that if someone loses theirs, there's always a partner they're going out with that can help them. Probably. And he doesn't question why he has it. He just does, because you always would have it. Force of habit, maybe even sort of a, like, not symbolism, but not a symbolism, not a ritual, but something that you just do, right? That's what I meant. And in their culture, this is just something you just do. Knife, sword. And people of the canopy don't even know what a sword is, which is interesting. There's a lot of growth on this tree. There's some red growth at the bottom. There are those bulbous, glowing, bioluminescent growths at the top. I wonder if those are parasites that are killing the trees, or is it just how the trees look? That could also be the case. Also, I see in the opening that even falling snow is just ball pit sized. Yeah, there's plenty of those, like, mushroom-looking growths. I wonder what those are. I kind of wish they touched upon it. Even if those aren't parasitic growths that kill the tree, if they are just there, I wish Kaina would have just pointed at some of them and say, oh, those are munitake mushrooms. They're inedible, but they are a great source of material for making clothes. Right? Something like that. To either tell us that, no, those aren't killing the tree, or to tell us that, yes, they probably are killing the tree. Right now, I'm gonna be very much hung up on those growths. The sage is prominently in the opening, so we can surmise that the sage is going to play some role, or the idea of a sage. Those people's cities are also overgrown in something purple. And I think those cities are carved in the tree. Interesting. And then there are those guys. The bad guys. Living in a fortress. It was said... Liliha said that people live around trees, around the tree bases, because that's the only place that goes above the snow sea. But those people aren't living around a tree. It's a fortress just on top of the snow sea. Is it floating? Is it one of the trees that was just cut down and it's a stump? What's the deal here? I don't know. I hope we figure it out. Oh, you can see the holes cut out with the bark cutter. That's cool. That's cool. And they're using some glowing mushroom for light. And there's the grove again. And there's the guiding glowing mushroom. I wonder what the fuck is that mushroom? It appeared out of nowhere. And it's just there. And Kaina doesn't question it. Liliha doesn't question it. If Liliha saw it beforehand, if that was what gave her the idea to go follow the sage, to go seek the sage out, there would have been a line of, oh, this is the thing that I noticed before, right? But also, nobody questions it. There's not a moment of like, yo, Liliha, what the fuck was that thing? I mean, I'm glad it stopped us, because we would have been killed by the bug, but what the fuck is that thing? Nobody questions it. Interesting. I wonder why. I wonder if there even is a reason, if it's actually significant, or is it just, you know, something they're not gonna dwell on. It just is, right? Not gonna call it a plot hole, but kind of a thing you just have to accept. And nobody questions it, because questioning it is not a part of the story. It's giving me very fairy tale vibes, you know? Not fairy tale the anime, but fairy tale as in, you know, the Grimm brothers or whatnot. Because fairy tales are, in my mind, different from fantasy, in that fantasy tries to explain things to a bigger or lesser degree, more often than not, right? What is, I don't know, a ghost appears before our heroes and tells them to go left. Fantasy will try to explain that, oh, it was a ghost of my late grandfather and I'm carrying his medallion, and oh, the medallion is cracked. Now I know why the grandfather gave me this medallion before his death and said that he will always guide me. Well, I guess he guided me, thank you, grandfather, right? Some sort of an explanation for why something happened. Meanwhile, fairy tales are like, then the ghost appeared and pointed them left, and then they went left because they trusted the ghost, and it turned out to be a good choice. And nobody questions the ghost doesn't get any explanation. You're just supposed to follow along. You're supposed to suspend your disbelief almost completely. And this floating, glowing mushroom very much gives me that sort of a fairy tale-ish vibe, where the explanation isn't important. The fact is. Kind of sort of deal. I don't know how to put it into words better, but you're gonna have to deal with what I said. What kind of clothing is she wearing? Isn't this kitchen knife a bit long? Interesting that they have no concept of weapons up above. They just see it as a kitchen knife. It's a blade, so it's used in a kitchen. You use blades in a kitchen as kitchen knives. Duh. Why would you use a blade for anything else? Right? Duh. Makes perfect sense. But at the same time, they know war. They mentioned that, oh, there's a war down below, right? It's good news, really, no doubt. I thought all this time they were like, ha ha ha, oh, young girl is here, that's good news. Kaina and her are gonna give us lots of children and we will repopulate the canopy. But perhaps from the very beginning they were like, oh, there's a girl up there, Kaina won't have to be alone after we die. Very, very pure intentions, right? I think that was the case. And we were supposed to believe all this time that they're like, oh, we're gonna get some grandchildren soon. Thank the gods, we're gonna get some grandchildren. I don't know who this girl is, but hey, long as she's fertile, it's gonna be great. That's the vibe we're supposed to get, but then near the end, it's actually shown that no, they just didn't want Kaina to be alone. And it's a good thing that Liliha appeared here. And it's a good thing that they're going to go down. They're going to go down to the Great Snow Ocean, and there's plenty of people there. So Kaina, when he goes there, he will never be alone. Great for Kaina. And they just genuinely, from the bottom of their heart, want the best for Kaina. I love it. I love this little bit of a subversion of expectations. So soft. I want to see this cheek squish. Yeah, that's a very 2D effect. It's not CG looking, that squish line particularly. It's cool. I like it. I'm getting more and more, I guess, convinced when it comes to this art style. I was on the edge, on the verge, on the precipice initially, but it's cool. I'm not a huge fan of the noses being marked by just a shadow. But then again, people in Sword Dad Isekai didn't have noses whatsoever, and it didn't really put me off, so it's fine. I'm Kaina. And yeah, you're in the canopy. And you found a sage. Kinda, sorta. They know what a princess is. That's also interesting. Their civilization, even before its fall, even when there were still many villages around, it was loosely packed villages here and there. There wasn't any concept of a country, of a king. And yet they do remember the concept of a princess. Later they also reference a king, right? Say hello to the king. So they know those things, despite them not being a thing in their little canopy civilization. Something interesting is going on with the timeline of the whole disaster, whatever that disaster was, whatever the event was that separated those two groups of people. As I mentioned, they share the same language. They are perfectly fine understanding each other. There's not even a moment of, really? Oh, she speaks our language, but what is this funny accent that you have? Right? You think that if two groups of people were separated long enough, that one group believes the other group doesn't exist, you'd think the language would have diverged ever so slightly. Right? Some specific slang for people living in a canopy, some specific slang for people living on the... not for people, but of people living in a canopy, of people living on the ground. Inuits have like 17 or 27 or something like that terms for snow, for different kinds of snow, because they live among the snow. So it makes sense that their language would have a lot of words and a lot of constructs dealing with snow. And right, you'd think their language would have diverged a little. And you'd think their civilizations, cultures rather, would have also diverged a little more. But they can recognize kings and princesses. Maybe they live only in fairy tales. That's a possibility. There's a lot of focus on those growths. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me who sees them as parasitic. and I can't get it out of my mind that they are parasitic growths and they are what's killing the trees. Maybe they aren't. Maybe they're just how the tree looks. Maybe they're the fruits or something. And I'm just overthinking it. There really is a place above the canopy. Well, technically, it's below the canopy. There isn't any buildings or any people above the canopy unless it's Kaina going to hunt. But okay, sure. Leaf beetle pupa soup. It'll boost your energy. How did she not put two and two together that beetle pupa is a bug? She's suddenly shocked that she ate some bugs. I don't know. Doesn't matter much. I'm just reading the words. It's the chap sign that says something. Atlant is a country at the foot of a spire tree. She's from the Snow Sea. About 1,000. That's not a lot from our perspective, but there's 6 people in the canopy, so 1,000 to them is an uncountable number of people. How are you going to fit them all anywhere? I don't think their villages, back in the prime of their culture, prime of their civilization, would have housed more than like 30 people each. There's simply not enough space. I don't think. Maybe. We don't know how it looked back in their prime. Yeah, it's just them. It's just the 6 people living up here. There used to be other villages, but the water dried up and this became the last village. So the villages collapsed due to water drying out, and as they're talking about water drying out, there's a shot of the growths again. Again, maybe I'm looking too deep into that. Maybe it's the actual cause. I don't know. Although if they are sucking up the water, you'd think they might have figured out a way to just pierce the bubble and drain some water from those growths. That seems a feasible thing to do. Sage isn't here. And we have some backstory on the Snow Sea and on Atland. Also on the verge of extinction. Only a limited area around the foot of spire trees is habitable, indeed. Valgia is a country with powerful fleet of ships. Where did they get the ships from? And what's the deal with the floating iron fortress? That's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be interesting to learn about it. I just hope we learn about it. I just hope it's not gonna get dismissed as another fairy tale thing that just is. Started stealing water from its neighbors. I'm assuming that's because Valgia itself doesn't have any water either. They don't live on the tree, it seems, so they have no access to water veins, so they also can't get water. So they resorted to raiding their neighbors for water, the precious resource. Despite all of them living on the literal Great Snow Sea. Unless the sea isn't made of water. What else, though? What else, though? It's probably Earth, post-apocalyptic Earth, so it can be like Titan with its seas of liquid methane. Even if the water is salty, you can desalinate it. Methods of desalination, primitive methods, are very primitive and they are still decently good, right? You just boil some salt water and you leave something up above for that water to condense and drip into a container. There, desalinated water. You just need a fireplace, a thing, a pot to boil that water, and I don't know, some whatchamacallit, some bowl or something, some container, whatever, could be a leaf for the condensation to gather and to drip into a third container, could be a mug or whatever, right? There are ways of desalinating water, so it can't be that. Even if the water in the sea was salty, the snow probably isn't. So you could melt the snow. Or is snow not snow? It looks like a ball pit when they're moving through it, so maybe it's the spores of the tree. Maybe it's not actually snow, they just call it snow because it looks like snow, but it's not made of water. I'm just gonna note it down. Snow is really pollen/spores. That would be one explanation. Or an explanation would be, this is a fairy tale, deal with it. It doesn't matter. It's a plot hole, but fairy tales are full of plot holes. And you're not supposed to think about it. You're not supposed to be looking for an explanation. I fear that might be it. I hope it isn't, but I fear it might be. Countries collapsed after their water was stolen and survivors became slaves. Yeah. And could that be what's killing the trees? Valgia burning and destroying the roots? Okay. Valgia is killing the trees. In parentheses, not knowing they're doing it. They're just bombarding those trees and burning them, and are like, oh no, why did the trees dying? Right? Kind of sort of deal. This anime, this series could have an environmentalistic message. People destroying things for resources, people destroying nature for resources, and yet they rely on that nature to live. Maybe? Kinda sorta. Vagda has also approached our land, indeed. Regardless who wins, we must resolve the water shortage or the world will one day end regardless. That's an interesting thinking. I'd rather my country wins, right? But even if Vaglia wins, they will one day also die, and humanity will die, and humanity will go extinct. So whoever wins, whatever happens, water shortage needs to be resolved. Whether it's us who resolve it or Vaglia who resolves it, someone, for the good of humanity. Stories of a sage that had magical powers and was able to create an endless supply of water. I wonder who that sage might have been. Because I think he must have existed. Perhaps it was the last remnant of the previous civilization, with a duplicator machine that was able to create an endless supply of water or something. Or a condenser, right? Like a water dehumidifier that gathers humidity from the air. Air dehumidifier that gathers humidity from the air and puts it all in a bowl, and you can take that water and drink it or water your plants with it or whatever. Right? That might have been the sage. What became of him though? Probably died. What became of his technology? Lost somewhere? Is there another myth of where the sage lives? Some ruins, perhaps under the surface of the Snow Sea. The Snow Sea is rising. It stands to reason that some things that were above the surface are now below the surface. I don't know. Why do you think he'd be on the canopy? Sudden head hurt. I can't talk about why I thought that. That's a trope by now. I don't know if it has a TV tropes page. If it does, link it, because I'd gladly read it. I'd gladly jump into the rabbit hole of another TV tropes article. But yeah, whenever a character has to recall some memory and their head suddenly hurts, that memory has been repressed. Either on purpose, they don't want to remember that, or through trauma, which are often interconnected, or through some other means. Perhaps someone implanted some knowledge in her head and unlocked it. Perhaps she had an amnesia at some point in her life, and she's really the descendant of the sage. and she has some magical knowledge, or she has magic, or she has the bloodline that allows her to bypass a DNA lock on the technology of the civilization past that will restart the generator that will melt the snow and rebuild the trees and restore the planet to its former glory. That could also be the case. She's a chosen one. But that memory, that part of her that's the chosen one, is sealed in her brain. That's why whenever she tries to reach into it, she gets a headache. I will need to see if she gets any more headaches. What's her face? Raina? No. I forgot already. Headaches. Because of locked knowledge / memories. Okay. Just focus on resting now. It's a small village, but make yourself at home. You can stay as long as you'd like. And no, she must return to Atlant. Negotiation deadline is approaching. Right, there's negotiation. She's royalty, she's probably needed. Just when we thought we found a good girl. So maybe their plan was to... Okay, maybe not just directly make them breed, but their plan was for her to stay here with Kaina, and now they're suddenly like, oh no, we thought after we die, Kaina is gonna have someone to be here with, but if she's trying to go back, Kaina's gonna be alone. And that's in their thoughts, that Kaina's going to be alone. Yeah, how'd you plan to get down exactly? They don't have a way to go down. You could use a floater, but floaters float up, not down, so that's gonna be problematic. We're not even past halfway point. If only I could ride floaters again, wish I could help her. I wonder what additional things are written on the signs. If someone can read moon runes, I would be glad to hear if there's anything of substance. It's noon already. Did you sleep well? Could you stand up for a minute? Yeah, my first thought, instantly, they're trying to make her a bridal gown. Yeah, we were going to make some when a young lady came along for a bridal gown. But no, it's a pressure suit. A tour of the village. The branches are empty. That's interesting. I wonder if the trunk is empty as well. Could you perhaps go down and up with the trunk? Could these spire trees be essentially organic space elevators? That's a thought. That's a thought. Trees are organic space elevators. I wonder. Bugs and the realization. I love her expression, by the by. We stick a tube in the water vein to collect water, but there's less and less water. And that's how they also do it in Atlant. That the water output has been dropping everywhere. Interesting, interesting. Snow. Snow is falling from here, but why? See, that's what makes me believe snow is actually spores or pollen. We see, at some point, clouds. I tapped my mic. Clouds are below them. Clouds are below them. Clouds are below them. And it's snowing from above them. Ah-ha-ha. Think I got something. Think I got something. Clouds below, snow from above. I wonder if that's actually gonna be relevant, or is it gonna be hand-waved? I hope it doesn't get hand-waved. Clouds below, snow from above. Okay. That's gonna be a better... Oh, there we go. Clouds below, snow from above. So it can't be snow. It has to be spores or pollen or something to that degree. Yeah. Okay. He's collecting some shells or whatever. We don't have a rope long enough. And the branches only go so low. Giant tree flies have laid eggs around her, so it's dangerous. And he leaves her alone. Not the best decision. I'm so happy the village will be so lively, and eventually, I hope that's what will happen. That's also what made me believe that they want Kaina and Liliha. Liliha is her name. Kaina and Liliha to repopulate the canopy, but perhaps not. She sees Floater and just immediately tries to jump onto it and catch it. That's a very stupid decision, because Floaters float up. So you're gonna get just carried up into the canopy, and what's it gonna help you? None. And she falls right into the nest of giant flies. And this fly looks like a bug, whose name is... I'm gonna Google it in Polish. Because I know its name in Polish. No. Kinda, sorta. Only kinda, sorta. European mole cricket is the name, apparently, and the Latin name would be Grillotypa. Sure, Grillotypa. Kinda, sorta like that, but no, there's another bug that looks much more similar to this one. Also has a snout, also has those flat mace-like appendages. I just can't remember the name. Maybe you do. Let me know if you do. Thankfully, harpoons. And we see the... Oh, that's a piece of a leg of a bug. That's cool. He's not... They don't have access to metals up above. Of course they don't. Where would they get their metals from? So they use chitin, however we pronounce it, from the bugs. Their legs are sharp, so you can stab a leg into the tree and use it as a nail. Makes sense. Sorry. It's even more mad because I heard it. Let's go, it's our chance. Hey, listen! Hey, listen! And that stopped them, and good, because if they went out, they would have been killed. And the bug just... I don't know, just killed itself or something? Just decided to give up on living? How did it die? I don't know. I'm glad you're alright. And yeah, you can go down. The golden hour lighting too adds to the dramatism, dramaticness, whatever the word is, of the scene, the drama of the scene. Yeah, you can use these made of a magical substance. We don't know what this material is. Those aren't baglings. It's a great sound. I have a tuning fork somewhere, and I love to just bang that tuning fork on the table and listen to it. It was a great sound. It's a lot harder. Yeah, it's metal. Interesting that the Liliha doesn't recognize it, seeing how they do have some sort of metal on the surface. Or do they? Do they actually use metal for their weapons, or is it something else? Don't know what material it's made of, but it's exceptionally sturdy. We don't have a rope, but you can reuse it. Makes sense. But yeah, you won't be able to climb up. That's a problem. Although, technically, you could climb back up, couldn't you? I mean, people climb vertical walls on the regular. You tie yourself to the wall, to some... right? People climb like glaciers. You stab something, some spike into the glacier, you tie the rope, you rappel your... not rappel, rappelling is down. You drag yourself up, you stab another spike above your head, you move the rope, and you go up. Another spike, rope, up. And you can traverse it up. It's gonna take a hell of a lot of time, but it's possible. Especially with the bark cutter that he has. He doesn't have to worry about those, spikes or whatever. He can just use the bark cutter. Easy. So technically it is possible. How many backpacks will it take? You're not gonna use backpacks. You're gonna use a bark cutter. Very important carpenter's tool, passed down from generation to generation. I guess they might have used it to carve out the stairs and the windows and other things in their houses. Liliha can do something like that. That's why you're gonna go with her. Yeah, you're the only one. It was a blessing to learn that people live in the snow sea. Once we died, you would have been all alone up here. That was their concern. Not repopulating, as I initially thought, but kinda being alone. Your wedding dress. Ha ha ha, no! Psych! You've been misdirected, dear viewer. They aren't about repopulation. They just want Kaina to be happy. They're just good people. We're hoping you'd stay, but you have something important to do, so we cannot stop you from doing that. You have such a clear, straightforward look in your eyes. Those are the eyes of a woman who knows what to do. Caution large insects region. That is interesting. Very, very interesting. Those are the signs from before any sort of a disaster happened to the Earth. Why would there be caution against large insects? Did the insects come first? I don't know. Were the insects a problem, and that's what brought the end of the world? How? I don't know. I have no clue. Did humanity breed those insects in certain areas of the world so that they can repair the canopy? And it's just a warning sign, right? Like you have warning signs near excavation sites or building sites, right? Warning falling debris and stuff like that. Warning, don't go there, there are large insects there. We need them, we use them, but hey, if you go there, you're on your own. Maybe. Or could it be a situation of like gassing bedbugs? Humanity just temporarily went into hiding somewhere, maybe underground, maybe off into the space. They build a canopy to keep whatever in, and they just lower the temperature of the entire planet. Or did something else to kill all the bugs. And they're set to return in a couple of millennia. Maybe. I don't know. Jarges. Knife. We braided this rope for you. Thanks, everyone. When you use the bark cutter, have the knob turned just to the first click. If you turn it further than that, you won't be able to use it for a while. It has some sort of a self-recharging mechanism. It doesn't have a battery or a power pack or anything like that. It seems that you can just use it in a short burst, and by the time you need to burst it again to cut another hole in the bark, it's going to be already recharged. So you can use it continuously. But if you want to blow someone's head off with it, That's gonna take down the entire battery, for example, and it's gonna take some time for it to recharge completely. That's probably the deal here. That's probably the deal. And it very much seems like a Chekhov's gun. They're not gonna use it just to get themselves down. They're gonna use the second setting somehow. Maybe to destroy an enemy ship, to cut through the steely exterior, through the armor. Maybe to kill an enemy. Probably not. It doesn't strike. Although, no, people were fucking killed in the first episode, so it does strike me as a series where people die. Maybe some other reason, some other purpose, use for it. I don't know. We'll see. I appreciate your hospitality. Thank you for everything. Don't eat bugs you've never seen before. I love this line. It's like usually you say like, oh, don't eat fruits you've never seen before. Don't eat mushrooms you've never seen before. They don't have fruits. They don't have mushrooms. They only have bugs. So of course they're gonna say don't eat bugs you've never seen before. When you see the king, make sure to say hello. Don't sleep with your stomach bare. When you get to the snow sea, look for other written words. If you find some, read them out loud. I wonder if people on the surface are literate. I wonder. And yeah, here's the bark cutter. That's just a laser cutter, really. Let's go, Liliha. And off they go, rappelling down into the great snow sea. And the end. And the outro. Plenty of shots with the people from the Great Snow Sea. And just this single shot with the people from the canopy. Some weird-looking hat people. Okay. Okay. That was a great episode. I didn't even notice the time passing, and I didn't even notice the time passing as I was talking about it, because we've already passed an hour, and I fear all the episodes of this show are gonna take an hour for me to record them, because there's simply so much thinking, so much questions, so many questions. I just hope they will answer them, right? I just hope there's not gonna be a situation where they completely hand-wave everything. They hand-wave the glowing mushroom, they hand-wave why they can't drink water from the snow, right? They hand-wave all of that, because it's supposed to be a fairy tale and not a fantasy story. I fear it might go in that direction. I don't exactly have anything to base those fears on, besides a couple of moments like Liliha and Kaina never questioning that green blob. That was kind of odd. And of course, people of the Great Snow Sea not drinking the water they are living on. But that could be explained by snow not being snow, right? That could be explained. And that could also explain why those dolphin-looking things moving through that snow looks like they're moving through a ball pit, because those aren't snow. Those are actually like fluffy cotton balls that they're moving through. That'd be cool. But I wonder if they are also going to dismiss the snow not being snow, potentially. Snow falling from above the clouds, right? That's something that would need an explanation, but are we gonna get one? Hopefully. I'm hopeful, but cautious. Perhaps needlessly slow, so. Perhaps those things will actually get explained in time. Maybe. We'll see. It's just episode 2. There's so much more ahead of us. 10 more episodes, at least. It is 12 episodes, right? Let me look it up real quick. Kaina. Ooyukiumi no Kaina. And it is listed for 11 episodes, actually. Oh, that's interesting. Not even a full core. But there is a movie, right? 11 episodes and a movie. Sure, makes sense. Makes perfect sense. And the movie is listed to be how long? Okay, we don't know anything about the movie. Not the length, not the airing date. We just know that there's gonna be a movie. Interesting. And there's also a manga that Annulist tells me is the adaptation. That the anime is an adaptation of the manga. But no, apparently it's the manga that's the adaptation of the anime, or rather, they are made in parallel. It's kind of a multimedia project where the manga and the anime are made in parallel. Someone wants to read the manga, they can read the manga. Someone prefers the anime, they can watch the anime. So it's an original story, all things considered. Original stories are always they're always a mixed bag. I think every time I see some original story, I talk about it, because when you see an adaptation, right? When an anime is an adaptation of a light novel or a manga or something, first of all, you know that the manga or the light novel or whatever is good enough to get an adaptation, so you can expect at least good story and good characters. So you know that it's gonna be a hit, or you know it's gonna be a or if it turns out to be bad adaptation, you have the source material to fall back to, right? If the anime is shit, you can just read the manga or read the light novel, and it's probably gonna be better because it was good enough to warrant an adaptation. When it comes to original stories, it can be really fucking good because they didn't necessarily go for something popular. They can experiment a little. They aren't bound by source material, and they aren't bound by popularity of the source material. They're creating something fresh from scratch that they hope will be popular. On the other hand, not being based on a popular thing, on a thing that's proven to be at least common good in a common way, where a common folk will like it. Common folk, I speak like I'm fucking royalty or something. When regular people, not like aficionados, will enjoy it, so, right? So original shows can be absolutely atrocious, or they can be absolutely great. And this is an atrocious, for sure. I wonder how close it will get to greatness, though. I guess, in my eyes at least, it will depend on how much they expand on the world and on the lore. If they hand wave it, I'm gonna have to cut down a couple of pegs from the score. If everything, or at least most of it, is gonna be explained, thumbs up. Dark horse, one of the dark horses of the season, alongside Benriya. Benriya Saitou-san. I mean, those are the only shows I'm watching of this season so far. I haven't started watching anything else. Perhaps soon-ish I will. Anything else that needs to be said? Also, the thing about original shows is that we know there's gonna be 11 episodes and a movie. So that's gonna be cool, that's gonna be interesting, but it means there's probably not particularly high chances for a sequel. So there's something they're not going to cover in the base series. They're not gonna cover it, period. Because sometimes with adaptations, you have the first season talk about some things, and some unresolved threads or some mysteries are still left after the first season concludes. But there's always a chance there's going to be a second season that's going to explain it. Or if you don't want to wait for a second season, you can just read the source material, right? But if it's original and it doesn't explain everything, chances are it's just not gonna. Unless they have some vague plans for a second season as well. Maybe there's gonna be a structure similar to Symphogear, where every season was made standalone, but also with enough wiggle room to make future seasons happen. We'll see. Only time will tell, really. It's just been 2 episodes, so I don't really have much to base my theories on. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. And I need to eat some dinner. So now, you guys, if you have something more to say, then do so, please, down in the comments below. What did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? I know episode 3 is already out, no spoilers, please, I beg of you. I want to enjoy it on my own, myself, and without any spoilers. If you do want to talk spoilers, of course, you can on my Discord. There's a link here, also in the description. You can join it and join the Ooyukiumi no Kaita channel, where Ooyukiumi no Kaita channel, where you can talk about spoilers to your heart's content, or the show on its own, not necessarily spoilers. I don't know what I wanted to say. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Ooyukiumi no Kaina, but also Benriya, Saitou-san, Symphogear AXZ, Madoka Magica. I'm going to be watching the movie soon. Hopefully I will finally find the time to do that. And some other shows might be coming in the future as well. I also stream sometimes, so click the bell icon to be notified when I go live. And yeah, and support the channel if you want monetarily. Patreon, Throne, links in the description below. On Patreon for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonals like Symphogear, like other shows like Madoka and others, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, share my content, spread the word. It costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot, and I mean it. A high percentage of people who come to the channel for the first time come from, like, I don't know, Reddit posts, for example, or Reddit comments, or from messenger links and stuff like that. So sharing my content does actually, in a tangible way, help. So please continue doing that, and thank you for your continued support. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. And as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers. And here's the list of my current Patreons, and you can be one of them, and you don't need to climb the tree to do that or something.